we were not ready for Maria.
Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico and everything changed.
Nunca habíamos tenido algo así.
Es una cosa horrible, horrible. Es un monstruo.
No estaba del todo preparada.
María, esto fue un infierno.
María nos ha dado mucho dolor.
El huracán María de verdad que fue total devastación.
Pedíamos a Dios que nos ayudara.
The history of Puerto Rico will be defined as before and after Maria. An economic hurricane has been brewing in Puerto Rico for years, and its government is in shambles. Its infrastructure is outdated and crumbling, and it can't borrow money to fix it. In May of 2017, Puerto Rico, which has a $103 billion economy, declared bankruptcy. Since then, it has been trying to restructure more than $70 billion in debt.
In 2006, Puerto Rico entered an economic decline into basically a recession. And that happened because the federal government have not treated Puerto Rico like part of the United States. In 1996, the U.S. Congress repealed Section 936 of the IRS. That provided tax incentives for American corporations to establish their operations in Puerto Rico. And what it did was to get a lot of the American corporations that were doing business in Puerto Rico, they left.
Puerto Rico has been a territory of the United States since 1898.
Then in 1952, there's a very interesting experiment called Commonwealth in English, or Estado Libre Asociado, or the Free Associated State, began in Puerto Rico, and this is the current period in which we're now engaged.
Yes, we're a Commonwealth. You remember Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, British Commonwealth. It's a nice sounding term. Whereas for the Puerto Rican audience, they would say we're a free associated state. And we have this bilateral pact between us and the United States where we're equal partners. And that was good enough in the 1950s, in 1953, for the United States to go to the United Nations and say, Puerto Rico is no longer a colony, because Puerto Rico has a special bilateral pact with us. So they're free, they can do what they want. That's bullshit.
But when we speak today, 2018, what the future status of Puerto Rico should be, it should be one where we are no longer some mistress to the United States. We cannot be hypocritical as a country, as a nation, where we want to defend and promote democracy all over the world. And yet, here we are presiding over the longest colonization in the planet.
Powerlessness. Think about that word for a second. Powerlessness. This is what Puerto Rico has faced for centuries. Powerlessness.
These are American citizens.
3.4 million U.S. citizens live in Puerto Rico, and they are entitled to the same government response as any state. But half of Americans don't even know that.
Puerto Rico has a little more self-government than it did before, and of course it elects its own governor, its own legislators. But unfortunately, in the last 2 years or so, these colonial elements have come back with a vengeance, because now there is an overseeing board called PROMESA, appointed by the President of the United States and Congress, which really has no relationship to the elected government of Puerto Rico.
PROMESA, or the Puerto Rico Oversight Management and Economic Stability Act, was created in order to help Puerto Rico restructure its crushing $72 billion debt.
The main thing is that I believe that Puerto Rico didn't have any other option. The only way that we can have all the sides coming together at the negotiation table is by having PROMESA. Some people might say that is bad. I will say that is the only way. And PROMESA and the board has the ability to decide how much money Puerto Rico will be able to pay back.
PROMESA allowed the debt of Puerto Rico to be protected from creditors and have an organized restructure of the debt that is not a perfect system and it was not a perfect solution, but at least it protected Puerto Rico from complete financial chaos. We're not happy with the end result of PROMESA. Let's be clear about that.
So since 2016, when PROMESA was passed, it's going to send our economy into a downward spiral because with more cutbacks, there's going to be less economic activity, more immigration to the United States, and there's no end in sight to that cycle. Enter Hurricane Maria.
On September 7th, 2017, Hurricane Irma's eye clipped the north end of Puerto Rico. That Category 5 storm carved a path of destruction through several Caribbean islands, leaving 1 million people without power. By the time Maria hit, 60,000 people in Puerto Rico were already without electricity. On Wednesday, September 20th, Hurricane Maria, a powerful Category 4 hurricane with 150-mile-per-hour winds, made direct landfall on Puerto Rico, ripping through the entire island, bringing severe flooding and a violent storm surge.
Maria did in fact engulf the whole island of Puerto Rico, and it happened because of its humongous size. At the time of landfall, Maria's eye was about 35 miles across, basically its diameter, and the width of Puerto Rico, it's 35 miles. So the eye tracked diagonally across Puerto Rico from one corner to the next. 2017's hurricane season was very stressful for meteorologists because we went through Harvey, and right after that we had Irma, and then we had Maria.
La amenaza del huracán María para Puerto Rico es la amenaza más significativa y más seria que hemos tenido en época reciente. Este es posiblemente uno de los mejores pronósticos que se ha hecho desde el Centro Nacional de Huracanes y sobre todo con el pronóstico meteorológico de los modelos europeos y americanos fue casi a la perfección. Porque hay que entender que Puerto Rico ya de por sí tenía una situación muy difícil para enfrentar un huracán categoría 1, imagínate para un categoría 4, un categoría 5. María caló en mí. Y yo no creo que todavía yo he botado, como dicen, el golpe. Porque lo que nosotros vivimos no fue fácil. Y no porque sea fácil cualquier huracán, es que sencillamente las horas de terror, el viento, el pensar que tú te puedes morir, el saber que habían personas que podían estar ahogándose mientras nosotros estábamos hablando, personas que no salieron de las zonas de alto riesgo. El sistema entra a las 6:15 de la mañana del miércoles 20 de septiembre y sale entre Humacao y Yabucoa y Maunabo y sale por Arecibo y Quebradilla con un diámetro de casi 30 millas.
From Humacao to Arecibo, these are the stories of the people of Puerto Rico, the survivors of Hurricane Maria.
Llevo 58 años viviendo aquí y de los huracanes, pues David, George, Federico, Hortensia, Hugo, no pensábamos que iba a ser de esta categoría.
El huracán María entró por esta área con 205 millas por hora de viento, y hizo que la marea ciclónica entrara con el mar, se juntara con el agua del río, y el 100% de la gente de Punta Santiago perdiera el 100% de sus cosas. El 60% de los habitantes de Punta Santiago se quedaron en sus hogares, escondidos.
Es algo que no se puede explicar en un sentido. Mi nieta mayor me preguntó que cómo se oía eso, pues yo le dije, vas a oírlo como si fuera quizá un tren, pero 100 veces amplificado. Pero fue peor. Ya a las 5 de la mañana no le voy a negar que yo le pedí a Dios que nos pusiera a dormir, porque era insoportable.
En Puerto Rico la gente pasaba hambre.
Pero ha sido bien traumante física, mental y emocionalmente. Es bien difícil.
Toda esta experiencia pues llevó al pueblo de Punta Santiago a sumergirse en una gran tristeza, ¿verdad?
Aquí nosotros no hemos perdido la fe porque somos bien unidos y esto nos ha unido más. Y gracias pues, a otras personas que han dado la mano.
After 15 years of growing corals, that is like a bulldozer passed through there, nothing left on the ocean floor. I cried when I went into the water. I lost more than 75,000 corals. You cannot afford to help the corals when you know that people are dying.
Where we're located is in the El Yunque National Rainforest. We're in a town called Naguabo. There were no trees left. Everything was completely gone. It looked like a massive forest fire. Well, it took us a day and a half just to get through our front door. FEMA showed up maybe about a month and a half ago for the first time.
A lot of the other people on the island lost everything they had, their roofs, their houses, their walls, their possessions, everything. And that happened to some of our neighbors here on the mountain.
The impacts have been psychological, have been emotional. Having to see everything you worked for kind of go. We saw the devastation throughout the whole island. We realized we needed something outside of generators. So we decided to go solar. We just got power about 2 weeks ago, March 1st, and it's been fantastic. After the storm, everybody really pulled together because everyone realized if we didn't work with each other and help each other, nothing was ever going to happen.
Welcome to Puerto Rico. It's a great place to work.
So the first day I was down here, someone else drove me around, and he said I looked like I was on a roller coaster, because that is actually what it's like out in the hills. Every day we hear a story of something changing. Grounds were there, they're not anymore. The cutout was open, it's not anymore. There's a new line running off the pole that wasn't there before.
You have to assume the streetlights are not working. You have to assume the truck's not going to fit on the street. You have to assume that your grounds are not going to be there when you go back.
The traffic lights are on today, off tomorrow. We're working far from normal conditions.
So when we first got here, it was back in November, and most companies, including Con Ed and including Prepper, which is the company down here, utility company, they have an automated, electronic, computer-driven, what they call outage management system. Because of the devastation that the hurricane caused, that really was not working. So we kind of had to go back to basics. We have maps, we're marking up the maps. There's no electronic mapping, really. There's no pole numbers on the poles. There's no pole numbers on the maps. It's not very sophisticated, but it works. We've done a really good job. We've done a very safe job. The San Juan region is pretty much 100% back in service, and then we're now working in some of the other areas, and it's working and it's restoring customers. We work with the utility company here. We update them every day as to what we're doing. They take a look at it, they give us the feedback, and then we go back out the next day and start all over again.
These people have been out of lights for 6 months.
So it's desperate times for some of these people. And They want to get their lights back, and obviously, you know, we're doing as much as we can, and anybody else that's here. People have businesses with generators, and they're running 200, 300 feet of extension cord to feed their house. It's all over the place. The lights are going to go on. We've put a lot of lights on. I was here in January. We were over 100,000 when I came back. At the end of February, we're down in the 20s. We put 80, 90,000 people back on horrendous terrain.
Once they see us show up, they're more than happy because their lights are coming back and they know. They're wonderful people. The way they treat the crews is incredible.
They're very appreciative to see us there, and we have to continue this one team, one mission, one family, and kind of get them restore their lives back to normal. And there's still a lot of work to do.
Before Maria, there was another hurricane, Irma, that even though it passed like 200 miles from Puerto Rico, but still the water and the winds hit Puerto Rico too, and some people lost the electricity then.
Cuando pasó María, bueno, yo la cogí en mi casa porque me dejé llevar por Irma y nos quedamos. Pero entonces, cuando nos vinimos a dar de cuenta, pues ya había subido por las alcantarillas el río.
Perdí muchas cosas porque se llenó el piso de agua y todo lo que había en ese cuarto se mojó, las ventanas se abrieron y por esas ventanas entraron agua. Intentábamos salir, pero yo le cogí miedo al agua y no me quise tirar porque ya el agua estaba bien alta, estaba a 5 pies.
Most of the work on the streets was done by the people, picking up trees they fell down right in the middle of the street. Cables, electrical cables were all over.
Gracias a Dios, pues sobrevivimos nosotros mismos, nos ayudamos unos a otros.
Puerto Ricans were very generous to those unfortunate. There were people sharing what little they had with their neighbors.
"63 days after Hurricane Maria, we start receiving water. My mom lost her whole house, my grandma lost her whole house. The power basically took 6 months to come back. So I have 6 employees who work in the construction field with me. And we start looking for things to help, going house by house, how may I help you? What we can do is right now stay here, survive, work hard, pay our taxes and continue.
La escuela está sin electricidad desde el huracán Irma hasta el día de hoy, aproximadamente 8 meses.
It looks like it's in a pretty good state of disrepair.
Se limita el trabajo, la ejecución de lo que pueden hacer.
That's what it's all about.
Agencies in Puerto Rico's capital and largest city are committed to the island's recovery and long-term economic development.
The people in the 8 communities of El Caño Martín Peña struggles every day to have a normal life.
So before Maria, we had a highly organized communities that already were going through quite some challenges.
You know, the problems right now, it's just gotten worse over the years without no attention.
A total of 25,000 inhabitants in these 8 communities lacked adequate infrastructure. So prior to the hurricane, the communities were already facing public health hazards.
Well, after Maria got worse, as you can see, all the vegetation that was blown over by the winds of the hurricane fell into the waterway.
They are still living with a blue tarp as a roof.
Approximately 70% of the community flooded with raw sewage for about 4 days.
A little rain and you have the communities flooded with contaminated water. When all that stuff starts to dry up, it fills the air with the smell and everything. And you're smelling that, you're breathing out all that air, all that contamination. How can you have healthy people living next to something like this?
El huracán María definitivamente ha dejado unas huellas que son difíciles de uno manejarlas.
Impactó en la YMCA de tal manera que los servicios que proveíamos se vieron impactados y todavía siguen siendo impactados.
Así que fue bien triste encontrar a la Y completamente destruida.
Pero estamos de vuelta trabajando para que la YMCA pueda seguir brindando los servicios.
What happened with the hurricane is that it shed light on a problem that there's in Puerto Rico, that's substandard housing. And we want to take this opportunity to rebuild safer and better. And that we make sure that we construct securely so that we don't have to go through this again.
After Hurricane Maria, we lost part of the infrastructure for the arts in Puerto Rico. We lost museums, we lost collections, and we had to reconstruct as part of the effort of the new effort to save the cultural. Our guess is that we have to rebuild 1/3 of the infrastructure of arts in Puerto Rico.
La Red de Albergues es una organización sin fines de lucro. Somos una coalición que agrupa, coordina y representa el trabajo de los albergues de niños, niñas y adolescentes de todo el país. Antes del huracán teníamos un plan de emergencia, pero el plan no fue suficiente para el gran huracán que recibimos. Todavía hoy hay 12 albergues que no tienen servicio de electricidad, 3 albergues que no tienen servicio de agua. Y creo que fue una de las mayores lecciones, ver los niños y las niñas que habían sobrevivido violencia, que habían experimentado las cosas más graves de su vida y aún en este momento, en el huracán, seguían sonriendo. Los niños nos sostuvieron, la alegría de los niños nos reafirmaba por qué estábamos aquí.
Antes de que pasara, mi verdadera preocupación era todos los perros realengos que habían en el país. Antes de María, habían sobre 300,000 perros realengos. Al pasar María, a las personas abandonarlos, al estar en la calle, sobrepasamos en cuanto a perros 500,000 y en cuanto a gatos 1,000,000 de gatos realengos.
Es que yo todavía como que esto no lo he superado, ¿entiendes? No, entonces cuando tú vas a las comunidades, ves todas las cosas que están pasando, esos primeros días que tú sentías que todo era incierto, tú no sabías dónde tú estabas parado, tu familia cuando tú ibas, y todavía no he podido superar esto.
Quedamos bien impresionados, fue por el desastre. Estamos sin luz, sin comunicación en las carreteras, todo esto quedó destruido.
Todo lo perdí, principalmente la casa también, se me fue todo completo. FEMA no me ayudó tampoco a ayudar la casa.
Los recursos que posiblemente tú como persona tenías y te habías preparado posiblemente para 3 días, ya no son 3 días. Ya la ayuda del gobierno y la ayuda que venían de la agencia, ya tú no la podías esperar.
Pero el gobierno, como era adentro, el gobierno solamente limpiaba la parte de afuera.
No podíamos esperar por nadie, no podíamos esperar por el gobierno. Teníamos que nosotros mismos tomar las armas, las herramientas y comenzar entonces desde cero a limpiar las instalaciones.
Como a la semana llegó el gobierno, pero la facilidad de que se preparó del paso, la carretera aquí en el área de nosotros, fueron los vecinos, los mismos vecinos de toda la carretera para abajo hasta el pueblo, todos los vecinos.
Yo llevo 30 años trabajando con la YMCA y la YMCA me ha dado esas herramientas para yo sentir y padecer por nuestros niños, nuestros jóvenes y nuestras comunidades.
Cuando el huracán María golpeó a Puerto Rico,
toda la energía eléctrica, todas las comunicaciones telefónicas y de otra naturaleza cayeron. Vimos la vulnerabilidad que tenían las comunidades. Todo el mundo dejó de tomar agua de las quebradas y bañarse en ellas.
We noticed high in the mountains, the animals have been killed and throwing all things in the river, and it's contaminated. That's when we decided to install a well and to provide water to the community so they could have healthy water.
Es muy triste. Fue muy triste, fue mucho daño emocional, económico, cuando uno tiene hijos enfermos. Yo tengo una hija enferma de los pulmones, pero sobrevivimos, estamos vivos gracias a Dios. Mi casa parecía un lago por dentro, eso temblaba, eso es una cosa horrible, horrible, es un monstruo. Ella hacía como un monstruo, y que ya las ventanas las quería romper. Todos nosotros somos bien unidos. Y como somos familia, todos aquí somos una unión bien. No me va a coger de nuevo de sorpresa, ¿no? No me va a coger de nuevo. Porque nosotros estamos bien, pero si tú miras hacia el lado, verás a los otros como sin casa, sin techo, duele más.
María, esto fue un infierno. Estuve encerrado más de 3 meses en esa área, sin poder salir ni nada, porque no tenía agua, no tenía comida, no tenía nada. Yo me las inventé. Después de 10 días que vi que no iba nadie a mi sector, a mi casa, tengo un patio bien grande y le puse ayuda con un tractorcito que tengo de cortar grama. Pues lo hice bien grande que se veía desde los cielos. Nosotros usábamos un teleférico para poder salir porque habíamos personas enfermas en este lado. Entonces todos los vehículos, todo estaba en esta área de aquí que uno no podía salir de ninguna manera. Y cuando salíamos al otro lado no teníamos en qué movernos hacia el pueblo. Yo espero que este puente no se lo vaya a llevar ahora el río. Yo creo que está bien construido y bien hecho. Yo espero que no vaya a pasar lo mismo. No, ahora estamos felices, ahora tenemos vida. Ahora tenemos vida con este puente porque ya las personas que están encamadas por todos estos sitios pueden salir.
When Maria came in, it was very, very rough. It was, we really felt it, it was very windy. We saw, when we looked outside, we saw some of the streets and some of the things flying all over. We got water, even when we had the windows closed. We had a lot of water going into the house, and the water came from both sides. Everything was destroyed in the main road. They did not maintain it, that's a problem over here. We just got power back about a week ago, so it was over 5 months.
Fue peor de lo que yo podía imaginar, porque nunca habíamos escuchado un huracán categoría 5. Este colegio pertenece a las Hijas de la Caridad de San Vicente de Paúl. Luego se fundó el colegio para el servicio del hogar de las niñas, para educar las niñas pobres y para servir a la comunidad en general. Ese día y esa noche que empezó a azotar el viento fuertemente, les pedimos que durmieran, pero ellas no podían dormir. Ellas tenían miedo, se levantaban, trataban de mirar por el cristal. ¿Qué se veía? No se veía nada porque no había luz, estaba muy oscuro. pero se oía mucho ruido, muchos golpes, mucho viento, mucha lluvia. Las niñas tuvieron una gran impresión por eso. Hicimos oración con ellas, pedíamos a Dios que nos ayudara y tratamos de mantener la calma. María básicamente nos dejó sin hogar. Todas las habitaciones de cuartos de dormir de las niñas se mojaron, cayeron los acústicos sobre las camas, se mojaron todo, todo. Solo quedó una imagen de un ángel en la pared. Para octubre yo me reuní con el obispo de Arecibo porque necesitábamos un hogar. Yo no podía tener las niñas así, refugiadas. Todavía nuestro hogar está destruido.
The most recent tally from Puerto Rico's government reports that about 97% of the island has had power restored. 98.9% has access to running water, and almost 99% now has telecommunications service. Still, hundreds of thousands remain in the dark.
This is the longest blackout in American history. We know that if in any other jurisdiction of the United States, something like this occur, people will be on the streets. The outrage, it's immoral what had been happening in Puerto Rico, and we're going to continue advocating for Puerto Rico for equity and fair share.
Puerto Rico deserves equal support, and there is still a separation of the question of statehood. Is this the time? If not now, when? The population in Puerto Rico is debating that solution.
The New Progressive Party is the party that believes in statehood. They want Puerto Rico to become State 51. But not only that, there is another party known as the Popular Democratic Party, the party that believes in Commonwealth. And we also have the Independence Party, the party that believes in not having any relationship with the United States or any other country.
I believe Puerto Rico should be of the 51st state. Look, in 1898, maybe independence was the best option. In 1952, maybe the Commonwealth status was the perfect option.
The main argument by statehood advocates has been that if Puerto Rico were to be the 51st state, it would have parity with the other 50 states. It would have 2 representatives, 2 senators, a large number, I think it's 7 in the House of Representatives, and of course access to federal funding.
I hope that now is the time when government begins to hear us and take it seriously and not be tempted to respond with the cheapest alternative that ultimately becomes the most expensive one.
We have to resolve this problem looking long-term solution. It will take more time. It will require more investment. But we need to do things right.
I believe that we need an opportunity to do it ourselves. And I do not believe that the relationship with the United States as it currently stands can abide. We cannot stay in the same condition. This is exactly what exacerbated the aftermath. That being said, we might be American citizens by birth, but we are a different nation. And that is something that has become clearer and clearer to me.
So it's not clear what the United States wants to do with Puerto Rico. And the answer for the time being is really not much, or maybe not a doggone thing.
Weighing in at this point during this crisis on the status of Puerto Rico will only create division among Puerto Ricans and a distraction. Unless there is a real commitment from Congress to put forward an election or referendum in Puerto Rico that will lead to a real discussion and a real vote that will be respected by Congress, we were wasting our time.
As of today, The Puerto Rican government is functioning at a very limited capacity and needs to rebuild its infrastructure. Puerto Rico continues to need help.
We're supporting the local government in whatever needs they have. Some people think that we get there and then we take the lead, and that's not the way it is. FEMA, we support the government, the local government.
I don't know anybody who's gotten 1 red cent from FEMA. I know a couple of people who did the same thing we did, got online, filled out their form, because you're form literate and you have an internet connection, and you get 500 easy bucks for having been without electric power, whereas somebody possibly with less cultural capital, apparently with FEMA you have to go and get rejected and then come back and ask them again, which a lot of people understandably aren't so much up for.
We ask survivors to come to us if they feel that they received assistance but they need more assistance to fix the house, to come to us. We have 64 disaster recovery centers where we have FEMA staff ready to talk to them. Our mission is to help survivors. It's not to say no, it's to find every possible way within the Stafford Act to make sure that we help them in any way that we can.
And one of the most immediate problems now is that because many of these people don't have official titles to the land and to the structures that they live in, they're not going to be able to have financial aid from the federal government.
The federal government failed the people of Puerto Rico. The kind of emergency preparedness wasn't there. And as a result of that, people died. This hurricane and this natural disaster was a monumental disaster that required a monumental response.
Puerto Rico deserved better than this country has responded, period.
And if FEMA does not have the means to help, or we cannot help because of the Stafford Act and the limitations we have a huge network of nonprofits, of other organizations that can help.
I've been very impressed with what has happened since the hurricane, and who I've been impressed with are the people of Puerto Rico. There is a false narrative out there of Puerto Ricans just relying on the government and not doing anything for themselves. And I think more than any time in recent history, post Maria, we have seen the community of Puerto Rico prove that they are more than willing and capable to do what is needed for the island and for themselves.
We believe that Puerto Rico needs to be reconstructed by Puerto Ricans.
We're going to see a continuation of community leaders rising from this and really taking what has happened and really turning it into magic and transformational magic for Puerto Rico.
If the government in Puerto Rico have already said to certain communities, you need to find ways to become self-sufficient, because we're not going to get to you anytime soon. We're not going to be able to provide you with the basic services. And these communities are coming together and actually finding solutions for them to be self-sufficient, that they can actually come together as community and find solutions as community. I think that that's going to have a strong result and message to the leadership in Puerto Rico.
Regardless of size, resources, or experience, organizations and individuals both inside and out of Puerto Rico have come forward to make a difference.
The See Plus Feel Equals Hope initiative, our slogan, see the light, feel clean, have hope, assembles our goal, which is to be able to provide solar lamps and hand-powered washing machines as means of physical and psychological health, as well as hygiene to those affected by the hurricane. The second day or third day after the hurricane, I was looking out the window and I saw the sun setting. And to me, that sun setting was as if hope was leaving. Not only for me, but for the millions of people in the island who were severely affected by Hurricane Maria. Even though I was surrounded by my family and I had my grandparents with me, I still felt lonely. And I couldn't imagine how other people were feeling that lost their homes, lost their roofs, lost everything. So the fact that at least I had my family with me drove me to be able to help those who were not as fortunate. Our initial goal was $100,000 and 1,000 families. We surpassed that goal. So as long as we can purchase materials, you can purchase lamps and washers, we'll be helping as many families as possible.
So my director, Bill Colon, and I were here today in Professor Cronin's Environmental Policy Clinic. So they're going to be going up to Albany and talking to our legislators about the proclamation that they're doing for Puerto Rico.
Because what we're asking the state legislature is for them to all say, yes, we are on board. Sometimes it gives legislators, even the governor's office, a reason to take further action of the situation in Puerto Rico.
There are a lot of parts of the island that don't have electricity, don't have water, don't have homes, food, clothes. I have faith that it's gonna get better.
Your program in New York is preventing the extremes of these storms or disasters. We want that instead of these band-aids that are consistently being placed and making matters worse, and it's making the economy more devastating because Puerto Rico was already in a state of crisis prior to the storm.
Correct. The little that they have nothing now.
Exactly.
Since Hurricane Maria, nearly 300,000 Puerto Ricans have left the island for the mainland.
Most of these recent immigrants have landed in Florida, and everyone is expecting them to participate actively in the next midterm elections this year, especially because they concentrate in Central Florida, in the Orlando metropolitan area, and as we know, most of those new voters will register as Democrats. So there might be an impact from Puerto Rican migration here in the state.
So it's going to be more expensive for the federal government to provide services to the people that are coming here rather than providing those services in Puerto Rico.
I think that this could be the redefinition of what is like to be a Puerto Rican. I think that this coming together of the diaspora with hand in hand with working with Puerto Rico, with Puerto Ricans on the island, it's an incredibly powerful moment in our history. We are reconnected.
Over 3.4 million Americans are still affected by Hurricane Maria, emotionally, economically, and politically. Although Puerto Rico's history will be marked as before and after Maria, the Puerto Rican people's hope throughout this darkness has created a sense of community.
Puerto Ricans are extremely hopeful, and I think it's in our DNA. Politically, we're not a separate nation, but in our culture and our understanding of self, we are a nation. We are Puerto Ricans. We have a strong sense of self. So that's where the hope comes from. We probably are not as rich as we could be, but we are rich as people, and we are going to continue moving forward as people.
On April 18, 2018, nearly 7 months after Hurricane Maria and weeks after restoration, Puerto Rico experienced total darkness once again.
Yo no creo. Yo no creo que Puerto Rico está preparado para otro María. No estamos preparados psicológicamente, no estamos preparados en nuestra infraestructura y no estamos preparados en la vivienda, ni en la salud, ni en el gobierno, ni en la parte económica. O sea, Dios nos protege en esta temporada de huracanes, pero yo no creo que nosotros estamos preparados.
Thank you so much. Someone call my husband because I'm not making it home. Please, please.
this entire project. This is all that ever happens. Pending. Pending. Pending.
Now I feel honored. I'm ready to create the best stock K-Stocks has ever seen. Sure.
Yo soy el hijo de mío. Este hijo mío. Y yo soy la de Ana Nilda.
Una prima,
But for you guys to put so much care into this project, this is what gave me hope. You guys gave me hope.